Hello, welcome to Catch as Catch Cast. I have Peter with me,
Hello.
and I am Stephen. We are going to be doing a little bit of AW booking. We've done a week already. You'll see we're like the end of the first week. We have booked a Dynamite, a Rampage, and technically a Dark.
Yes.
Technically, before we go into anything like actual booking wise, this is like your episode 0, your setup. We are working off the post. Was it All Out?
Yes, the post all out for Raw.
Yes, the post All Out shenanigans. So if I can find that there, so we have Thunder Rosa is out. All of the elite, so Cutler, Jackson, Omega, Nakazawa. When I set this up, they were all suspended. So I set them all on a month suspension. And like that was it. I was just going to say they're going to be gone for a month and then they'll be back. Since then, obviously, Nakazawa and Cutler have been unsuspended. And like the actual suspension for the 4 of them that were suspended is indefinite until the legal issues are resolved, whatever they may be.
Yes.
I've set Punk as injured with the torn bicep, which is what at the time was thought that was his injury. Don't know if it is or not. It definitely injured his arm in some way, but he's out. He's out for like 7 months. We could do surgery. I'm not going to. I'm going to say he's got to stay out for the full duration of the injury. Because in real life, it's, they're not even certain if he's even going to come back to AEW based
No.
on
No.
how everything has gone Pete Tong with it.
Unlikely at best.
I did set up stuff for Ace Steel as well, and then found out after I started the game that he isn't actually signed to AW in this database. So I could sign him, but I can't because I actually set him because there's no way to suspend people that I could find in the editor. I set them off for legal reasons. So technically, nobody in the world can use these guys while they're on this suspension, which is probably how it'd be in real life. I think like I can't see like the book showing up at another company while they're suspended from AEW.
It's a fortunate limitation of the game, really.
Yeah. We have done some admin behind the scenes. We have made quite a few tweaks to the roster.
Yeah, you can call them tweaks.
We fired a lot of people,
Yeah, it's
essentially.
a brutal Vince McMahon-esque culling is what I'd call it.
Yeah, we Nick Khan's the fuck out of this roster, like just immediately. So on our,
Have you waited the obligatory 5 minutes before you swear? By the way.
I don't know,
Ah,
maybe
well, shit it.
shit, fuck shit. I hope children aren't watching this anyway. So our firings, I will just go through them as we did them. Look, by the way, it's listed in the game. Peter Avalon was fired. Dr. Luther was fired. Caesar Benoni was fired. Ryan Nemeth was fired. Satnam Singh was fired. Johnny Elite was fired. Fuego del Sol was fired. Slim J was fired. Kip Sabian was fired. JD Drake was fired. Rocky Romero was fired. Angelico was fired. Jake Atlas was fired. The Butcher was fired. Serpentico was fired. The Blade was fired. Anthony Henry was fired. And Chris Van Vliet was fired.
Yes, Chris Van. I struggle with his last name, or constantly.
Chris Van Vliet.
Yeah,
Vliet. Vliet.
we are untravelled Englishmen. We can't really be to be blamed.
Yes. That's another thing, actually. We are very English, if you couldn't tell from the accents. We are booking an American company, but we are British wrestling fans. Our background of wrestling is like English wrestling.
Which will be reflected in the hires that you're about to hear.
Yes, you're about to see our hires. So let's just jump into the roster and I'll just go down them as I see them on here. So first hire, Cara Noir.
Yes.
Massive name in British indie wrestling. If you jump onto the WWE network, you can find Cara Noir matches at Progress, which I highly recommend you do because his matches with Ilya Dragunov are phenomenal.
They are, yes, they are the highlight of that weekend, actually, they were.
Like his stuff is worth watching. He's going to be a megastar in the next 5-10 years. He will be signed for somebody
I believe, if I am incorrect in being told, he's gone to DDT.
because he lost his feud with Spike Trevay in Progress, I believe.
He did, yes.
And in real life, I think he's bounced over to Japan. Charles Crowley is a second hire. Not quite as big a name in English wrestling, but he's like a rising star. He's already in the PWI top 500.
Yes, he's a mainstay at Progress. He's nearly at every other show.
Yep,
If,
he
if,
shows
if not
up
every show.
all over the UK. Again, someone that I would put money on ending up at a big company in the next 5 or so years. Somebody will sign him. He has nothing but charisma. Like he gets the entire crowd on his side or against him
And a
on a
really,
coin flip.
really banging theme tune.
Amazing theme tune. Again, you can probably find him on the WWE Network on like Progress shows.
Yes, you can.
He's worth a watch. He's solid in the ring, amazing charisma. Next up, Chris Brooks, another guy for DDT.
Yes.
He is, I mean, there's no point in telling. He's absolutely one of our boys.
Yes.
He was a mainstay in Progress, Fight Club, which is our promotion that we went to before it was sadly closed. He's done the Schadenfreude and Friends shows in Manchester. Again, quite a big deal in English wrestling and making quite a name for himself in Japan.
Yes, he's doing really quite well.
But America, not so much. But give it time. Like he'll probably end up somewhere bigger in Japan at some point.
Yes, I can see that happening quite easily.
And final hire, if I can find him,
There he
Kid
is.
Lycos, the Shitwolf. He is Brooks' tag partner. They are CCK. They're also in Schadenfreude together. Again, mainstay in Progress, Rev Pro as well. He has a Lycos too. Apparently, Lycos is going to Japan as well, actually.
Yeah, yes, I have heard.
Like in real life, most of these guys that we've signed have actually gone to Japan. They've pretty much cancelled every single UK booking they've got, and they've just moved over to Japan. But we've signed them up for AW just because we're fans of them. Like, there's no other reason for that. We're going to make them into stars,
Whether you want us to or not.
whether you like it or Tony Khan likes it or not. We will make them into stars. We are playing this with Tony Khan in charge. We are just booking. We do not own the company. So Mr. Khan has a few rules for us, which I'm guessing are randomly assigned because these don't make any sense for Tony Khan at all.
No.
As actual Tony Khan. But we can't fall below small size over the next 2 years. If we fall below small size, we've done something terribly wrong. With the roster we have, we should not be able to drop below small size.
No.
We can't sign anyone who's a luchador. That's not too bad. Neither of us are big lucha fans anyway.
No, I can take or leave the style as a
I
whole.
could see the appeal, but I don't watch a lot of lucha, if I'm honest. And then the last one, we can't hire anyone that's classed as a brawler, which is actually a much bigger problem than it seems, and that's for over 2 years.
Well, that's not only an issue with the way the game works, because quite a lot of wrestlers are brawlers. That's an issue for us as well, because Brit Rest is quite brawly and quite
There's a
technical.
lot of brawlers in the UK. I mean, one of my original signings was going to be Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt, but he is classed as a brawler. So
Yes,
we
had to can that idea.
we can that, but it does present a couple of problems for us because if I just go onto, is there an option here for wrestling style? Style, yes, there is. We technically can't re-sign any of these guys. Anyone here cannot be re-signed under that rule, and most of them have contracts that will be expiring within that time frame.
Yeah, so we either have to annoy Khan or try and get them to change their style.
If we're lucky, we can speak to them and say, like, hey, John, would you like to be a technical striker? Which he'll say yes to. So now, no issue. He's not a brawler anymore. which I'm happy to stick with that change anyway. I think that's a better representation of his current wrestling style with the
Yes.
Blackpool Combat Club and whatnot. But yes, how we will be doing this is when it comes to a show, we will alternate who is booking. So I will book a match or an angle, then Pete will book a match or an angle, and we will create a show between us. There will probably be a lot of us presenting ideas to each other. It's not like we take turns and the other person sits there in silence. No,
No. There's a lot of to and froing, isn't there?
we will be bouncing ideas perpetually.
Some of them you'll never hear because they're crap, and we'll cut
Yep.
them.
What else do I need to go over? We've gone over the ins and outs. Developmental. We sent a few people down to Ring of Honor, which is our developmental territory in this. So we sent down Aaron Solo, Anthony Ogogo, the Guns, Bear Country, Varsity Blondes, Jora Joel, Josh Woods, Nick Camarotto, Nick
So
Wayne, Parker Bordeaux, and Sean Dean.
it is essentially you could take Ring of Honor, scrub it off, and just write the factory on it.
These were the guys that we sort of looked at them as like, we could fire you, but
We might want to use it later.
like getting rid of guys in their early 30s, late 20s is a bad idea when we already have them under contract.
Well, I should make it clear that the firings were some of them were personal spite.
Some of them.
A lot of them were the roster's bloated. We can't use you all.
Like when we started, I think it was 136 people we had on the roster, and we managed to get that down to, obviously we've hired 4 people, so we got it
Yes.
down to 100.
And even then, there is probably some guys that we just won't use for a couple of weeks because they'll get lost in the shuffle.
Like there's still like a massive list of people here. Like there is so many people.
Yes. So it was although I took great pleasure in firing Luther, um, some of it was necessary.
That's needed to be made. It's the biggest problem AW have got them aside of the locker room slowly imploding, which puts a bit of a date on this. Like all you've got to do is say Sammy Andrade, and that puts a date on when we're recording this.
Yes.
That absolutely tells people when this is. While we're on the subject, let's go on to tag teams. We've added Future Shock as a tag team. I think that's about it.
Yes.
We've added CCK obviously because we've got these 2 in as a tag team. Yeah, pretty much tag teams you'd expect to see. Mostly tag teams you'd expect to see here. We haven't done anything like mental yet.
No.
Give it time. We will start
Yes.
to things will start changing as we book it more. Probably mostly based on performance. If we've got a tag team together and they're just not really working as a tag team, if their matches are just bad, we'll probably end up breaking them up and do something separate with them. It'll be a very sort of organic development of how we book these shows. It'll be based on the feedback we get from the road agents and how the crowd seems to react. Stable wise, American Top Team did start in here. They are done in real life, so we've made them inactive. So we have Best Friends with the current lineup of Best Friends. We removed Chris Statlander as she was still technically in it when this database started. Death Triangle is Death Triangle. Jericho Appreciation Society, we haven't gone with what's happened in real life with Daniel Garcia sort of going rogue and sort of teaming with Brian. AFO, I think is still a thing in real life, right?
Yes, it is. Yes.
We got rid of Butcher and Blade. Well, I say I got rid of Butcher and Blade.
That one was a personal vendetta.
That was kind of personal for me. I just don't like Butcher and Blade. I couldn't give you a good reason. I just don't like them. Probably mostly because they're in their mid-40s, not doing much in the way of anything to warrant being on the payroll. We've kept Bunny for now. We don't have many actual women wrestlers, so she is stuck around for now. We added Roosh into the faction as well, so he's kind of there. He's like Andrade's pal.
Yes.
We've got the baddies. I don't think we'll do anything with the baddies. Same with the Beasts of Burden. They are here. Whether we'll actually use them for something is eh. Blackpool Combat Club is the lineup you're expecting to see.
And he's probably going to get pushed to the moon. Not going to lie.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the main event scene, like for a while. You've got Dark Order. They are currently babyface. We are planning a heel turn for the group of them.
Mm.
That is
You think
already
this is-
sort of set up that these guys will turn heel.
We think it's the right direction to take them. They're floundering otherwise.
Yeah, current Dark Order is just sort of there to back up Adam Page when Adam Page inevitably gets involved in a feud where there's like 7 people trying to beat him up, which seems to be his specialty. So we will be turning these guys heel just to do something with them. I mean, my vague idea for this is I want to turn them into the Dark Order that debuted in AEW
Yes.
as like a weird, like pseudo-religious cult thing that starts demolishing jobbers. That's kind of what I want this to be. Maybe pad out the numbers, but I think John Silver can be a star down the line.
Very easily.
Like we can make him into a big deal. So that's kind of the loose plan right now. The Elite, it was the Undisputed Elite, but we've dropped out the Undisputed part of the Undisputed Elite. This is just sort of here for now. Like pretty much everyone here is suspended. So they're not going to do much yet. And then House of Black is House of Black, exactly what you'd expect it to be. I know in real life, Malachi is taking a break from everything.
Well, we deliberately haven't got rid of him because nothing has been officially announced of him being released.
Yeah, he
So-
sort of said in private, like on like an Instagram live stream or something, that he's taking a break and he'll be back at some point, but he needs to recover. Both of us probably have plans for House of Black, and because
Yes.
this is fantasy booking, we can just ignore the fact that he is gone, which is exactly what we're going to do.
Yes. Nothing to see here. He is
Right.
perfectly fine, perfectly happy, and perfectly healthy.
Yep, no one can prove otherwise.
No.
Titles. So we have, I know in real life, Mox is champ again. We are going from essentially the day after. Well, technically a week after.
Week
but
after.
we started. We booked a couple of shows in advance just to get a feel for the booking. So we've got a vacant world title. We have Pac as All Atlantic, which is as it is in real life. We do need to just book a small match to put this onto MJF because we're going to book this like I don't know how AW are going to do it in real life, but I'm thinking of using this like Money in the Bank.
Yes.
So MJF has it and can, cash in his chip whenever he feels like it. Tag team is Swerve and Glory. I know the
Well-
Acclaimed have won it in real
Yes.
life.
Well aware we are going from the time it was. So
As of when we started this, they are the tag champs. They are our tag champs for now. Will they stay tag champs? Who knows? But they are for now. That bitch show title, Jade Cargill. I don't see any reason to take this belt off her anytime soon.
No.
Wardlow, TNT champion. Again, he'll probably hold this for a little while, but I kind of want to use this as a belt to elevate people to the main event.
yes. That's
Like a mid-card belt should be.
yes.
Trios, Death Triangle. That's when I was setting up the database. This was announced almost instantly. Like it happened, a matter of days afterwards.
Yes.
Toni Storm is the women's champion. I know technically she's the interim champion, and Thunder Rosa is still but we've just said Thunder Rosa is she's vacated the belt. It's Toni Storm's. I'm not doing the interim stuff that they do. And FTW is Hook.
Yes.
As it should be. Tournament. So we set up a tournament for the world title. 16-person elimination. During our first week that we booked, we had Andrade go over Claudio and Miro go over Joe. So going forward, we will have at least Danielson Archer, Guevara Dustin, Hardy Starks, Alan Lethal, Cole Page, and Jericho Moxley.
On paper, hearing Andrade going over Claudio and Miro going over Samoa Joe might not make sense, but there are machinations and plans. We do know what we're doing.
There is a plan for this tournament. We did like map it out in our head as to how we want this to go down. As we go through, we will over the next Dynamite. We'll probably book at least 3 or 4 of these matches.
It will make sense. Stick with us on this one.
There is a plan. We do have a plan for this. I promise.
Something long term booking. It's possible. It's doable.
First Dark, just to go through what we did. So
Yes,
you've got a vague idea of what we
the
did.
low scores do tell you just how much we were getting the feel for the.
Yeah, we. You'll see this as over time. This will get better as we start to understand how this works a bit better. But we booked. This is essentially Elevation. We use the pre-show of this for Elevation. It's probably the only time we'll use the pre-show outside of like pay-per-views.
Yes.
We'll probably use that as the pre-show as well. So we'll do an hour pre-show on pay-per-views, but we'll also use the pre-show on Dark
As Elevation.
as Elevation because the actual expectations on these matches is nil to non-existent. Like it means nothing to the actual. It just gets popularity for the wrestlers involved. It doesn't matter to our actual rating. Which, if you look at this, we actually booked a better Dark Elevation than we did Dark.
Yes, we did. Yes.
So we had Private Party beat Best Friends, Emi Sakura beat Abaddon, Tony Nese beat Cabana, and Scorpio Sky beat Dante Martin. We then had Danhausen open the show. He had a little taunt against Ethan Page. We had the Acclaimed beat Reynolds and Silva. The Acclaimed are in a feud with Swerve and Glory. And the Dark Order are just going to be jobbers for like at least a month until they turn heel. Like the idea is we're going to put them on a stanky big losing streak and then we'll
have them snap and then they start winning again.
Then they start winning. We had Kazarian beat Dustin Rhodes and Matt Sydal in the best match of the card. With
oh god, Jesus Christ.
We then had an angle with Starks and Hook, who are feuding for the FTW title. Danhausen beat Ethan Page, which probably would never happen in real life.
No.
That would be the absolute inverse, because I think that match was already set up when we booked this anyway.
Yes.
But then we just did the inverse of what actually happened, because I think Ethan Page just fucking killed him in real life.
He did.
I don't think it was even a match. And then we set up TNT title feud with Jay Lethal and Wardlow, which underperformed. Like that was poor.
That was disappointing.
We then booked Dynamite. So this is the main show. This is the one we're going to put most of the effort into. We had a little angle to hype the tournament. So it was just a bunch of the guys that were involved. Did really well, actually. Good opener to the show. We then had Nyla Rose beat Ruby Soho, Hikaru Shida, and Britt Baker. I believe Nyla was the weakest link in that match.
She was, which is disappointing because I believe we were doing a number one contender nonsense.
Yes, this was our number one contenders match, which then had Vicky Guerrero hyping up Nyla Rose versus Toni Storm for the title, which also did terribly.
Which no one cares about.
Literally
clearly.
No one cared. Then first round of the tournament match, Miro beat Samoa Joe in absolutely astounding match. Scorpio Sky then beat Orange Cassidy in a dreadful match. And then we had to set up our feud of Orange Cassidy versus Christian Cage. We had Cage come down to help Sky beat up Orange Cassidy. We then had 2.0 beat Jurassic Express in a match. We then had Guevara versus Mox just to set up the feud. I believe we had Guevara win with shenanigans.
It was shenanigans.
Which is why the rating was a little bit lower, but then Mox got on the mic, salvaged it a little bit with a good rating. We then had setting up for the Andrade Claudio match. Claudio was beaten down backstage by Andrade before the match, just to give him a little bit of an advantage, which again, good angle. Both guys performed. Roosh then killed 10 in a just nothing match. It wasn't supposed to be. It was a calm down for the crowd.
Set to a squash, actually. Set to a
Yeah,
squash.
we just had Rush kill 10. Then we had Andrade beats Claudio in the tournament. A good match again. We then had an angle with Mox, Jericho, Cole, and Page. I can't remember what we were trying to do with that.
That was setting up the rest of the tournament, was it not?
It might have been. I think it was like these are the guys that are in the tournament coming up. And then Rampage, which we just sort of booked it as a Rampage. We didn't do anything fancy with it. Surprisingly good show, actually, considering. We had Jericho hype Jack Hager versus Pac for the All Atlantic. We then had Private Parties win via DQ against the Hardys. Just nothing like decent match actually in ratings. Just setting up we've got the AFO feuding with the Hardys. So we wanted the Private Party to win, but not really win.
Mm-hmm.
So DQ win works fine. Jamie Hayter beat Chris Statlander in a match, slightly below average. Hardys then surprisingly massively underperformed on the mic. They cut a little promo on Private Party, but no one was feeling it. We debuted Chris Brooks against Evil Uno. Just had Chris Brooks go over. Evil Uno needs to lose for the sake of the storyline. We then hyped up Cara Noir to no fanfare.
None whatsoever.
Nobody cared at all.
We
did salvage it though.
We're going to make Cara Noir happen, whether you want to or not.
Cara Noir is happening. Over.
It's happening.
He will start beating people. There's nothing you can do about it. Then we had Pac versus Hager for the All Atlantic. Pac absolutely stole the show in this match.
He did. He did so well.
Hager did slightly above average. Pac did phenomenally, which pulled it up to a 63 rating overall. And then we just had a post-match angle where Jericho Appreciation Society just beat down Pac. Mm-hmm. The plan was to have all a Death Triangle there, but unfortunately, they were busy in Mexico.
Yes, working for AAA at the time, so we couldn't.
Not even joking. They were literally working for AAA. We couldn't use them.
Mm-hmm. I believe that brings you all up to speed.
Yes, that is everything that we have done so far. Oh, one other thing I need to go over while I think about it. We do have money, but I am very much working on a assumption of, as I think it is for AW in real life, I don't think money is an actual thing that's going to affect us.
No, Daddy Khan will bail us out.
Like, I'm working on the thing. If this money hits like $0 and we start going into debt, I will just give us more money. Because
that's what will happen as well.
That is exactly what will happen in real life. Like, this is a company that just, buys the rights to Sympathy for the Devil for a night just because they can. So, like, there's no way in real life AW will come into financial issues, not with the name they have behind them in terms of money. So it's there, but if you suddenly see it jump up, don't worry about it. Don't think about it too hard.
No, we're playing
Daddy Khan just handing us more money.
We're playing the Khan card.
Right, that's all we'll be doing. So yes, storylines. This is our vague plan. So we're gonna set up for Hangman versus the Dark Order.
Yes.
As of right now, it's probably not going to really start yet.
No, it's going to take a while.
It's probably going to be, there'll probably be a few segments with them backstage that'll give it a rating, but it's probably not going to get too much going for it. Tag team titles, Acclaimed, Swerve in our glory. My loose plan is to probably get the belts onto the Acclaimed.
Yes, makes sense.
Because everybody loves the Acclaimed. It's just science. We've got Cargill versus Deeb for the TBS title. This will be a rotating storyline.
Yeah.
So I reckon once a month, like, whoever this person is here just gets removed. Someone else gets added in as the new bit of food for Jade Cargill.
Yep.
TNT title, Lethal versus Wardlow. We've got rid of all of Wardlow's, not Wardlow's, Lethal's little semi-faction thing.
Mhm.
Because I don't see anything in Satnam Singh. I don't even know what AEW see in Satnam Singh.
No.
Maybe that sweet Indian market, maybe. But this will be our mid-card feud. Probably mostly Lethal just being a twat and Wardlow trying to get his hands on him.
Yes.
Trios title and the All Atlantic title feud is Death Triangle versus Jericho Appreciation Society. You will notice the suspicious lack of Sammy Guevara. That's because he is down here feuding with Moxley. We wanted something for Mox to do. Sammy's a good person to feud with him. Like they'll both have good matches. They're both good on the microphone. So it's a good fit, this, because I don't want Sammy in here because he just gets lost in the shuffle.
Yes.
So Pac, Penta, Phoenix against 3.0, Daniel Garcia, Jericho, and Jake Hager. That's already started. You can see we've already had a bit of quite a hot storyline actually, but that's mostly
Because
down
of
to Pac and Jericho more than Jake Hager. Women's title, Nyla Rose versus Toni Storm. I don't think Toni Storm's losing this belt anytime soon.
No.
Like we're probably keeping it on her for a little while. AW World title. This is kind of a little bit of a spoiler for the tournament, I guess. So we've got Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly as a 3-man group in there. You've got Danielson with Mr. Regal. You've got MJF, who is the casino ladder match holder, and then you've got Samoa Joseph. That is our main world title feud for now. It's probably mostly going to be Danielson Cole with MJF lurking.
Yes.
As the potential cash in is always there. But yeah, that'll be once the tournament's finished. We will set this up in advance, but this will be the main feud going forward. Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. They just both need something to do.
Yes.
Let's just get them into a feud. We'll see who the crowd feels better about, who performs better in the ring. That person will then probably end up moving upwards to the world title feud. Cage versus Orange Cassidy. It's essentially Cage versus Best Friends, really. We could probably add Danhausen to that if we wanted, but that's just a little mid-card feud. Gives Christian Cage something to do. I'm sure at least one of these guys has a dead father to talk about. FTR versus Men of the Year. Just again, I want something for FTR to do, and these two are decent feud. FTW title, Hook, Ricky Starks. You will notice here there is some weird inclusions on this list. That is because, for some reason, on the entire episode of Rampage, Ricky Starks was also on commentary. So the game took that as every single match that happened on that card had Ricky Starks and Taz in it.
Yes, it did, yes.
Which then technically advanced the feud. So you'll see Pac beat Jake Hager to retain the title is listed there for some reason. We didn't notice it at the time. We were just very confused about why it was saying that it was advancing the storyline. Then we worked it out.
Too late now.
It's too late now. It's given it a meh score. It's not giving it a massively bloated score anyway. This is probably about the right score for these two. Miro versus House of Black. We haven't started this yet. Miro's in the tournament, and until he's out of the tournament, this feud probably isn't starting.
No.
So we'll probably have these three guys just run through some other people to build them up for Miro.
Heels.
Mox vs. Guevara, I've already talked about that one. These two are just a good fit for a feud. And then Hardys versus AFO. Again, just a simple feud to keep Andrade and Roosh busy mostly. Because the rest of them, I don't see us doing much with them yet.
No.
The Hardys are the Hardys. They're just going to be here to put people over I don't have the same nostalgia for the Hardys that a lot of people do, so I'm not going to be booking them mad strong.
Now, any nostalgia that might have been there has been quashed. And
Very whittled
spoiled.
away by the last 5 years of the Hardys.
Yes, and Matt being unable to walk properly, and actually, funny enough, Jeff being unable to walk, but for very different fucking
Very,
reasons.
very different reasons. Private Party will probably have a future, but not yet. They're going to be the food for this feud, I think. Our product is Nerd Nirvana, which makes sense. We're catering to Smart Marks, specifically Smart Mark Sterling. So high quality matches, good characters, hot angles, all done with a sense of humour. I don't think there's anything we want to change on here, is there?
Nope. All good. It's very us.
We could make every match scripted, but I think I'll leave it to the wrestlers mostly. What does creative say, actually, as a closer? Franchise player, Bryan Danielson. That's fair. Followed by Punk, Omega, Jericho, and Sting. These two aren't going to be I don't think I'm going to have Sting wrestle at all.
Because of during the firings, we had to stick by Tony Khan wouldn't get rid of him. I wanted to get rid of Sting.
Yeah, Pete absolutely wanted to shit can Sting.
Because he adds nothing to any feud, other than a sense of, oh my god, he's going to hospital.
Oh no, please don't jump off that tall thing.
Don't kill Sting.
Next big things, MJF, of course. I'm surprised Sonny Kiss is on here. No disrespect to Sonny Kiss there, but I'm probably one of like 6 people that like Sonny Kiss. But I'm surprised that Sonny Kiss is on here over some other people. But MJF, yeah, absolutely. He will be our main events in the future. Like, we're gonna book him like he already kind of is. So
Yeah.
Hot prospects, yeah, a load of very talented young women on the roster that aren't quite stars yet, but they'll get there, no doubt. Kira Hogan, Tony Storm, Penelope Ford, Chris Statlander, Yuka Sakazaki. Yeah, absolutely. Talkers. We've got Punk, Jericho, Mox, MJF, Danielson. Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's right.
fair
Yeah.
to be expected. In-ring performers, again, yeah, absolutely. Danielson, Omega, Andrade, Punk, Pac. To be honest, in the future, if we could set up an Andrade Pac feud, that would be wonderful.
Amazing. That would be amazing.
Ring generals, it's going to be the same sort of list, isn't it? Yeah, just Claudio's on there instead. These are the guys that we can, if we put if we need to book a technical masterclass match, any of these guys just slot in beautifully. So yes, that is our ending point for an episode 0. We've gone over everything that we need to go over. We will be back for an actual episode 1 for Dynamite in 4 days.
We are going to assume you've watched this episode 0 when we do episode 1. So,
if you walk into episode 1 not having a clue what's happening, that's your fault. He says
Yes.
at the end of episode 0.
A warning for nobody that's going to hear because they wouldn't have watched it in the first place. But let it be known that it was said.
Like, you can come back and watch this later and then feel a little bit stupid. That's on you. So yes, that is a nice ending point. We will be back in 4 days.
Hattie bye. That's awful. That's awful. I'm not using tatty bye. I'm not using that. Cutting that.
Hey man, you take as many takes as you want.
That's too English. That's like up there with how you diddling.